Remember, valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million and they're different, right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I'm super excited to be here because we're talking about our planet. We're talking about the newest moves that the United Kingdom has made with regard to having a greener economy, a greener future as well, with the switch they're planning to make from the energy sources that we use presently to something called green and blue hydrogen. All right. Now we're also going to be talking about how some cities could actually be awarded the national park status in a bid to protect these cities, to make sure that these cities are much safer from the fact that humans are in the city and we're using up its resources, to make sure that we don't destroy the environment because that's something we're really talented in doing, right? We're really talented in destroying things, and I just don't know if that's human nature, but this is something I've always noticed, right? So we're going to be talking about all of that, but before we actually head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact be a part of the show, all right? All you need to do is just text me or call me on 078-52-473-473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say, all right? And obviously, don't forget to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and actually make sure that you download our app as well. All right, because all you need to do is go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But also, while you're at it, something else that you can do is to download our app, right? Because if you want to listen to the conversation, if you want to share your thoughts and opinions with us, what better way is there than to go follow us on our socials, download our app, and get in touch with us directly, because we talk about science, sports, health, whatever it is that you want to know. We talk about all of it. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to let me know what your thoughts and opinions are as well. And now let's actually head into our conversation, because I want to talk a little bit about what does our planet's future look like. All right. Now we know that our government, and not just our government, but a lot of leaders across the world, has made terrible decisions with regard to the environment, right? And obviously at that point of time, they made those decisions because it was profitable for them. And the truth is, no matter how much you say, I care about other people, I care about other people's welfare, at the end of the day, everyone is pretty much materialistic, right? Because the truth is, this world runs on money, and the more money you have, the more power you have, the more you're going to be respected. And that's just the very logical truth of how society functions in this point of time, right? And the truth is, because of things like that, because of that power, because of that money, our leaders have in fact gone ahead and made some terrible decisions, which we have to deal with, right? The consequences of those decisions are stuff that we have to deal with. And I can start with, I can name a lot because there's so many, but obviously I can tell you one thing that always comes to my mind. It's our climate, it's our planet. This is something that all of us could have avoided, but not really, because at that point of time, our leaders just went ahead and made these decisions that were in fact it was very detrimental to the environment. All right. So that's what happened. And that is why now, all of a sudden, after this IPCC report got published, they're in this mad scramble to actually to undo some of the things they do. And the truth is, at this point of time, it's a bit too late. It's a bit too late to undo all of that because the damage has already been caused. So even if you try to make drastic changes, our planet is not going to go back to that same way because we've created so much of damage in it, right? And that's why our government is trying to switch to this whole green and blue. They're trying to switch to what I would refer to as green and blue hydrogen, all right, or what even scientists refer to as green and blue hydrogen. However, what we found is that blue hydrogen, which is made out of fossil fuels, might actually be much more detrimental to this environment than actually blue hydrogen or other green hydrogen. All right, so that's why it's important for our government to now make sure that when it comes to using or moving to a hydrogen economy, moving to supposedly a greener and cleaner economy, that they take the necessary steps and make sure they invest in what is actually good for the environment and not what is more profitable for them. All right, so that is my concern. Now, like I said, this whole economy, this whole hydrogen energy system, they're planning to basically use this hydrogen powered electricity, hydrogen powered energy for refineries, for factories, heating, and even sometimes energy and transport. All right, so to make sure that we protect our planet, to make sure that we protect our environment and make sure that we don't destroy it any further than we have, we actually have to hold our rulers accountable, and we have to start asking them questions and make sure that they take the steps that are important and helpful, not just for you and I, but for our future, but for these young people who are being born, these young children who are being born, and young people who are still growing up. All right, now make sure to stay tuned because we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to discuss more of this, obviously. Until then, make sure you stay tuned.
Again, but now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much has changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no, if that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young. Well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, I'd say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it." And that was it. So I'd dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. And we're discussing the future of our planet. We're discussing what exactly is in store for our planet if we don't take the necessary steps, if we don't take immediate drastic measures to change all of the things that we have done to this planet. All right. Now, earlier we were talking about, the hydrogen economy, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen. But now we're actually going to very quickly talk about, how some cities are going to be awarded this national park status, right? And this is in a bid to actually protect our parks. This is in a bid to make sure that our parks are much safer because of human intervention, right? Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, to very simply put it, when people or when humans start inhabiting specific areas, they tend to destroy the environment, because we need to make use of the environment to either build a house, to grow plants, whatever it is. We tend to destroy our environment, right? So obviously, because we tend to do that, what is happening is that the environment gets destroyed, and even that little bit of forest cover we have, that little bit of greenery that we have, that is very, very important in creating oxygen, tends to get reduced, right? So obviously then, with this in mind, to protect these cities, they're actually being granted the national park status, right? And this actually affords urban areas the same level of protection as environmental protection in natural landscapes. And this is as part of this new review of open spaces, all right? So that is what that is about. However, the thing is, even though this is going to be awarded and whatnot, it doesn't really matter if that's awarded, but we don't really take the steps that we need to take, and we ourselves, genuinely actively take an interest to protect the environment as well. All right, because if not, nothing is really going to change. So that is the conversation on that. And before I go, I want to very quickly talk to you about if the world is running out of vaccines as well, because this has been, one of the biggest questions, right? Now we know that there has been countries that have hoarded up multiple doses of the vaccine, whereas there are some other countries that have absolutely no supply of vaccines, right? So this is something that is very, very scary as well, because how are we going to win our fight against COVID if only a certain part of the world, if only a certain individuals in the world are in fact vaccinated? So we have countries like the United States where people are almost fully vaccinated, even the United Kingdom. And the truth is, when you have all of these countries that are almost fully vaccinated and some countries that don't have vaccinations, giving people booster shots might not necessarily help, because at this point of time, making sure that everyone has at least a single dose of the vaccine should be the world's priority. All right, and now we're actually going to head into I'll actually be back in a few more minutes to discuss COVID-19, the scam COVID test, and even if the world is running out of vaccines. But obviously, until then, make sure that you stay tuned.